I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everyone, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, as always, your TV Guidance Counselor, and this is the podcast, even though people don't have pods anymore, but I'm sure that's been covered by people smarter than me. This is the audio program. How's that? We'll call it an audio program. It's an extra syllable, but I think we can afford that extra syllable. This is the audio program where each and every week since Valentine's Day 2014, I have welcomed an interesting person to the show to discuss the difficult viewing choices of our collective past using my personal back issues of TV Guide magazine as the inspiration to our conversation. And this week, my guest is the very funny comedian Allie Clayton. Allie has a newish album out called Country Queer. She also does a podcast, an audio program called Y'all Gay. Very funny. This was a really fun chat. I laughed a lot. I learned a lot. And I found someone who beat me in the exotic pet department growing up. So I think you'll like this one a lot. You can go to allieclaytoncomedy.com to find all her stuff, her album, her podcast, and all that kind of thing. She's doing shows near you. I also put links in the show description. Or if you, for some reason, can't do that, you can email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com, or go on the Patreon, patreon.com/tvguidancecounselor. And if you are on the Patreon and you have $5 to give us a month, you would have gotten a PDF of this very issue that we discussed today. So, all that being said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Allie Clayton.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from New York City, Allie Clayton, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for doing this. We were just chit-chatting a little bit about, although you're in Brooklyn, you did not grow up there, which people will probably recognize. You don't sound like Bugs Bunny.
Does Bugs Bunny sound like Brooklyn to you?
Yeah, he's got a Brooklyn accent. That's like Bugs Bunny's accent. Like, hey, pal. Yeah.
It totally is. You're right. You're so right. Yeah. No, I'm North Carolina.
Is there a cartoon character with a North Carolina accent?
Well, I can't think of a cartoon character, but the Andy Griffith Show was based in North Carolina, Pilot Mountain.
Huckleberry Hound is based on Andy Griffith, so that would be North Carolina accent.
Okay, there we go.
I love Andy Griffith. Have you ever seen A Face in the Crowd? It's before the Andy Griffith Show, and it's a drama.
Okay.
And Andy Griffith plays this guy who's just like a fucking evil piece of shit, but he plays like aw shucks, folks, and he's just like, he's basically like Trump. But he's all like, here's some folksy wisdom, and people fall for it. And it's the whole thing about his like rise to fame and then this downfall. It's a really great movie, but it's from like 1960, I want to say, and is way too relevant now. It's very good.
Yeah, I've seen all of the Andy Griffith Show, but no, I haven't seen that.
Oh, I love the Andy Griffith Show, but he is like a damn good actor. Like he's so good in it. It's basically if he's playing Andy like that kind of character, but if secretly that character was a fucking bastard, which is just amazing. He's so nice. But he kind of plays that on the Andy Griffith Show a little bit, where he plays like an aw shucks, but he's 3 steps ahead of everyone because he's always like,
oh yeah, Andy's smart.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. Have you been there? Don't they have like a whole tourist thing built around the Andy Griffith Show down there?
The only reason I've been to Pilot Mountain is because my cousin was in rehab there. So
good a reason as any.
We had to go to the facility, so like no time for any tourist activities.
It'd be funny if it was like a Mayberry Andy Griffith themed rehab.
I might start drinking again just to go to that.
Just to go to that,
yeah. Sounds, yeah.
This is like
sounds
the
like a good
Otis
time.
wing. Well, we have, we go
A
fishing.
lot of Otises in my
A lot of
family.
Otis. Big Otis.
A lot
Yes.
of Otis.
I have a lot of Boston equivalents of Otises in my family as well. So,
Okay.
Which I guess would just be someone from Boston. So we do have a cartoon. We have whittled it down. There is a cartoon character with North Carolina accent. It is Huckleberry Hound. We're answering the tough questions here.
Yes.
How long have you been in New York?
Been in New York since 2016, but I did 8 years in Chicago before that.
Okay. I like how you said I did 8 years like it was the armed services. I was honorably
open
discharged from Chicago. And
Yeah. Open mic, so similar.
yes, you have
Yeah.
a Purple Heart from open mics in Chicago. Had you been to Chicago before you moved there?
I had gone one summer. I did a 2-week intensive at Second City and stayed in a hostel for 2 weeks when I was in college. And then that's really all I knew. And I finished this apprenticeship, and everybody went to New York to do acting. And I was like, I'm going to Second City. So I went to Chicago by myself.
Did you like it? I mean, obviously open mics are miserable, but were you, I mean, because Chicago's pretty different
Oh, yeah.
from North Carolina.
Very different. Yeah, I think it was like the perfect place to start and like really get good at comedy. And there's a lot more opportunities for stage time than there is in New York. And it's really like it feels like more of a community than it does here at times, just because it's so saturated in New York. And it's like it's Midwestern, so people are still relatively friendly.
Yeah.
So I think it prepared me. Like, it's like, oh, I'm in a big city, but people, like, aren't calling me a cunt. So,
Right.
like, just
When all you were
randomly.
doing is like, hey, you dropped your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's New York. I remember
Yeah.
I normally, if I was out in LA, I'd fly to Boston first, but I had to go. I did fly to New York for some reason. It was like an audition or something straight from LA. And like and I had been in LA like 2 weeks, and LA's all like, hey man, it's great. Everyone's in a good mood. And literally I was walking in Brooklyn, and there were two guys standing on the hoods of their cars pushing each other. Like they got into it in like at like a red light, and they both stood on the hood of their car. I was like, oh, what the fuck are you got? Oh yeah. Like it was like, oh, this is right into the deep end as soon as I get here. It's great. Gotta love it. Pizza's better in New York, I will say though. Chicago people will fight me about that, but they're wrong.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me.
It's a different beast. You can't
It's very
compare them.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. So you picked an issue here from 2008. This is June 23rd to
did.
29th, 2008. This is relatively contemporary, not the most contemporary one we've done, but because I'm super old, this feels like a year ago. But this is one of the best TV Guide covers I've ever seen, and
So good.
I'm not a huge Denise Richards fan. Like I saw Wild Things. But I guess she had a reality show at this time, and this is basically her being Godzilla.
Yes. I love Denise Richards. I still follow Denise Richards. I watched all of this show. She's like so much drama. She's just always got drama. And lately she was on The Real Housewives, and then this past season she like came back as a guest, and she's so funny. She has this new husband that thinks he can cure cancer with crystals and it's like the best thing ever.
Oh man. Yeah, because she's had this whole second career as a reality TV actor, or I guess actor's the right word, a reality TV participant. That's sort of gone on longer than her acting career, really.
Yeah, definitely has.
I believe she's on OnlyFans now as well. I remember following her, and she posts about that a lot.
Her and her daughter.
Her daughter's on it with her?
Yes. Sammy. I don't know if they're on it together, but they both have one. because they got in a fight in Real Housewives about somebody talking inappropriately in front of her children, and then somebody was like, your kid has an OnlyFans.
Oh my God. Like, that's like, okay, you and your mom work at the strip club, and you're like, but on different nights.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's still kind of weird, though.
Don't make it weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, guys. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we'll dip into this in a sec. So this is after TV Guide had changed formats for the listener. This is the big format TV Guide. So it's kind of like Entertainment Weekly. Kind of went downhill at this point. It's basically just press releases because by 2008, who the hell needs TV listings in a printed issue?
Yeah. You know.
It doesn't make sense. And it still comes out every week to this day. Like, who is...
Really?
Yes, I don't know who buys it.
Do you buy it?
No, I had a free subscription, I guess somehow through the show. I never signed up for it. And so I would get it and I'd just be like, what is the point of this? Like there was, because
it's like a telephone book.
Really, and not even that good because a telephone book at least has coupons. Like this is just like, it's just press releases. It's nothing like the old TV Guide used to have amazing articles. Like they had really good writers. If people at home are playing TV Guidance Counselor Bingo, you're going to get a square. But they had like Harlan Ellison and Eleanor Roosevelt and Ray Bradbury. Like these people were writing articles for TV Guide that were really great. And it's much more like this issue that we're looking at now, where it's just kind of like a press photo and then like a paragraph that clearly some intern wrote and mailed to them.
Yeah.
But this is a really weird year, 2008, I realized when I started looking through this issue. So were you in North Carolina?
In 2008, yes, I'm a lesbian, but at the time I was living in a trailer with a man and his daughter and a steak and a dog. And, you know, as one does.
Yeah, we've all been there. We all had a summer like that once.
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
2 years.
Some longer than others.
Yeah, he asked my dad if he could marry me, and my dad said, no, you may not, and just walked out of the room.
And is that how the relationship started? Or
No, when I moved to Chicago, we ended up breaking up. I was trying to decide should I stay here in North Carolina and marry this dude and raise this kid, and even some of his family members pulled me to the side and they were like, we think you should move.
Get out now. Call the police. That's better than them being like, we think you're a lesbian.
Yeah.
But
I remember sitting in that trailer watching reruns of Reba. Very vividly all the time. Reruns of Reba, Gossip Girl, which is in the TV Guide. And Lifetime movies.
So let's jump in here. There's also, I do like to point out, in the olden TV Guides days, they were all these cigarette ads. So I like to see what they replaced them with. The first ad we get here is for a Crest Spin Brush toothbrush, which I guess is like the anti-cigarette.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. But so many of these shows I totally forgot about. And this is like, I don't know if I would call this the heart of reality TV, because by 2008, it had pretty much become the prominent genre of all television that it kind of still is. But there's a bunch of weird shows I forgot about, like I Survived a Japanese Game Show.
Yes.
Which I'm like, that was a show. Okay.
You're canceled just for saying it.
Yes. I'm like, okay, all right. And you have stuff like I Love the New Millennium, which was VH1 trying to, they were like, we ran out of decades. I guess we'll have to do contemporary stuff.
Yeah.
How's that going to work? And it didn't. But a bunch of stuff I never heard of too, like Copperhead.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. I hate snakes, so I wasn't interested.
I'm not a big snake fan. Most people aren't. I feel like most people aren't really into snakes.
Yeah.
If you meet someone into snakes, are you immediately suspicious of them?
A little bit. We had this friend, I grew up with crazy animals, exotic animals, and then we had this friend, John, and he had poisonous snakes. and like would just keep them in like bins in his house. And like I would not go to his house because I went in one time and I was just like, this is insane. It's just bins and bins of snakes. I'm like, I don't know how you sleep at night.
Were they like filed? Like, oh, here are the bees.
Yeah.
Like...
Yes. Yes.
Go up to
just
the
like
shelf.
stacks of bins. Like,
Woof,
like
that's
over
weird.
here is a cobra. Like crazy shit. You could go to the fairgrounds and just buy poisonous snakes in North Carolina.
You just win them in a game. You hit the balloon. Here's a cobra. Yeah, we this is something that we share. I also grew up having all kinds of weird exotic pets because my father.
Really?
What I always say, and I used to do a bit about this on stage, where I say my father grew up poor, so as a result, we had exotic pets. Because as soon as he
totally same.
Okay, yeah. As soon as he had
Yeah.
any money, he was like, we'd go to the pet store, and the guy would literally be like, "Everybody, get out of here!" He's like, "Come on in the back." He'd be like, "You guys want? You ever seen this?" And my dad's like, "No." He's like, "I'll buy it." We had weird.
Like, what type of animals did you have?
We had a tegu, which was like
What is that?
It's like a giant lizard, like a Komodo dragon kind of lizard. And
Okay.
that thing was horrific. We had a jerboa, which was like a kangaroo rat, like one of those with the big long tail kind of thing. We had iguanas. We had parrots, tarantulas. Like all that kind of stuff. How about you guys?
Okay. It's a little more crazy. We had a lion, a tiger, a snow leopard, a clouded leopard, 2 zebras, 3 monkeys, and all the dogs and cats.
So did you buy a zoo?
Well, my dad was trying to my dad's a lawyer. He's a criminal defense attorney. But my bubs, that's my brother, got really into monkeys and
What a statement.
big cats. Yeah, he just he would make binders full of monkey facts and memorize them. And I would get high and be like, come here, watch this. Bubs, what is a razorback tamarin's brain weigh? And he would be like, leave me alone. And I'd be like, just tell us. And he'd be like, 0.5 ounces.
Let me tell you about Reese macaques.
Yes. Oh, he'll tell you about a macaque. So, yeah, we originally sold miniature horses and donkeys and bred them. And so we had 2 small barns for little horses and donkeys. And then we had 1 big barn for big horses. And then when we got big cats, we turned the 2 smaller barns into facilities for the cats.
What happened to the donkeys and the ponies?
We
Did
still
the cats
had
just,
some.
Okay, it wasn't like the cats just took over and were
ate them.
Yeah.
No.
My God.
No, but there was plenty of hunting and deer meat for the big cats.
All right.
Happening.
We had a zoo near us that's still open, but they had a chimp there who smoked. And my dad didn't smoke, but he would go to New Hampshire to buy cigarettes because they were cheaper, which is totally different state. And then he'd sneak them into the zoo and give them to the monkey. And they'd be like, please stop giving the monkey cigarettes. And he kept doing it. And then the monkey died.
We had a monkey that had worked in a circus or something, and she smoked cigarettes, but then she would eat them, and so it was really dangerous. And we had this worker, Bubba, was cleaning her cage one day, and her name was Birdie, and she just grabbed the cigarette out of his mouth and started smoking it, and then just ate it. And we had to take her to the emergency vet, and she had to have surgery because she
ate a lit cigarette. That's like a prison move. That's like a sign of dominance.
It's insane.
Don't fuck with me, man. This is my bunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. So do you have any pets now?
I don't. We went bankrupt, and when you buy leopards and monkeys and you don't pay any taxes, they will take your house.
Yeah, because they'll be like, you guys got any money? And you're like, no. And you're like, really? How about these leopards and monkeys?
Really?
They were free. We won them.
Yeah. No. It was so weird watching Tiger King because I was like, you can still get a lion for $1,000? It was that in 98. Like,
one thing that is inflation proof are big cats.
lions.
Highly recommend. Forget gold, forget silver. You invest in exotic animals, you're doing all right. So did they take the animals? Where did they go?
A lot of the animals had to, like, we sent them back to, like, where we got them from. Like, the leopards we got from this guy in Kansas that sold, like, it's a weird fact, he's the same guy that sold Michael Jackson his giraffes.
Of course, of course.
You know, when you're in the biz.
Yep.
And
It's a small business.
So they went back to him because technically on paper, because it was very illegal for us to have a snow leopard, technically we rented it.
Okay.
Is how my dad, like, made the paperwork.
Okay.
He was like, technically I don't own this leopard. I rent it.
This is not a lease to own. This is a strictly... After 5 years, we turn it in, we get a new one.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I think we got our zebras from him too.
Would kids like come over your house and be like, can we go to Hella's house? They got all kinds of fun stuff there.
Yeah, like I was a special ed kid, so I'd always be like, do they like me or is it just my monkey? You know? Like,
you're just using me for my zebra.
Yeah, and seriously.
My God.
Like, y'all just want to swim in my pool and pet my monkey, and I know it.
I feel like those kids probably went home and they're like, Mom, she's got a snow leopard and a zebra. And they're like, stop lying. You're a goddamn liar. And they probably got hit. So there's that you can look forward to.
Yeah.
To know that happened. Man, yeah, you win. That beats what we had here, for sure. And because I always joke, we would get an exotic pet, we'd have it for 2 weeks. My dad would ask as many people as possible if they'd ever seen one of these, and then it would die. That's pretty much how it always went. But I think if he could have got away with having a big cat, he would have had a big cat. Did you interact with him at all? Or were you like, don't go near that thing, it'll kill you?
Like when they were smaller, like TT was our lion, and she got to be like the size of like a golden retriever. And like even at that size, we would still bring her inside and sleep in the bed with her.
That's amazing.
Which my mom, like the amount of times I heard my mama yell, "Get that damn lion out of my kitchen!" Like you just can't even count.
My God. I think we just sold your life story to all the networks, but there's a bidding war going on right now. So I would ask you about this all day, so I'll move back to the guide here. But there's one thing in here, too, that I forgot. Mariska Hargitay was in the movie The Love Guru.
Yes. So I love her. I have seen every single episode of all 25 seasons of Law & Order SVU. Real big crush on Mariska. And yeah, I was like, what? Could not believe that. I was like, she did that?
That movie is god-awful. Somehow Mike Myers has managed to make most of humanity forget that movie existed. But for people that don't know, post Austin Powers, he made this movie where he's like an Indian guy doing like a horrific, like bad accent really bad. And everything for the whole movie. And just, it came out and he did that. And now it's like it never happened.
Yeah, it's wild. Like a lot of his stuff, it's just like, it was just a different time, you know?
It certainly was.
Yeah, Austin Powers doesn't age very well.
No. Which is funny because the whole joke of that is that guy was like a 60s guy in the 90s and was out of place and wasn't PC, at the time. And then you're still watching that and being like, whoa.
Whoa.
Like, yeah. My God, Mike Myers. Also, this is 2008. So they're talking about the McCain-Obama presidential run, which is kind of amazing to see. So that feels like 250 years ago.
Yeah, that does.
And then we get this is weird. There's a Q&A in here with Leonardo DiCaprio, which are like, what does that have to do with television?
And also that they're like, forget gorgeous models, environmental activism if what he really is into.
Yes.
And I'm like, No, he's like 50-some and fucking 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. But he's
So,
probably like, it's recycling.
I haven't heard him say shit about recycling.
No. Yeah, so it's TV because he has a show on Planet Green, which was formerly the Discovery Home Channel about global warming. He's coming full circle from Growing Pains through the movies back to television. Is it universally agreed upon that he's a creep now? I haven't seen him in a movie in a long time. I feel like people are like, Leonardo DiCaprio's a creep.
Yeah, I think he's a total creep.
Okay. All right. That's good to know at least.
And I mean, like, loved him as a kid. Like, I mean, should have known I was gay, like, because he looked like such a little lesbian.
The haircut, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Titanic and the Romeo and Juliet. I was like obsessed with.
He had a classic your aunt's roommate's haircut.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And they're just roommates.
I was like, I love him so much. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Then there's the thing, I forgot there was an actor's strike in 2008 as well, which I think was the last time there was a strike. I believe it was pretty short-lived. But there had been a writer's strike in 2003, which is why all these reality TV shows kind of took hold. Mm-hmm. So really, that, as much as I'm on the side of writers and having so many friends being writers, that's the reason that we got He Who Cannot Be Named.
Yeah.
Really, that writer's strike is like directly responsible for it in a very strange way.
I loved the page right before Leo that I had totally forgotten about Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
The Will Ferrell, like, YouTube sketch.
Yes.
And, like, I remember that being, like, the first one of, like, those type of, like, short form videos that I became just obsessed with.
This is when Funny or Die like really became a huge thing because I think YouTube only came online in like 2005 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally forgot about these two. It was like a little girl. I don't even know. Was the girl Will Ferrell's kid or someone's kid?
I think it was his niece, and he's like pretending that she's his landlord.
Yeah.
And she's like holding like a bottle of some kind of alcohol and just like, give me my money. And he's like, I don't have your money, Pearl.
Yes.
I can probably quote it.
Yeah. It was like a huge
so many
thing then. Yeah. And I feel like I want to go back and rewatch those like early sort of viral videos and see if they hold up. That one I feel like would still be funny because that's just like kind of cute and not like offensive.
Yeah. I mean, aside from the alcohol.
That's true. That's true. Also, the CEO of Funny or Die, this is the guy's real name, Dick Glover. Is that the guy's real? Hey, I guess it would be.
Well, being funny was his only option.
Yeah, I guess. Or he could have died if your name's Dick Glover.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's horrible.
Yeah, CEO. Don't go by Rich. Wouldn't you go by Rich?
Yeah, you would think.
Man, wow. Okay. All right, Dick. We'll look him up and see how he's doing these days. Yeah, that is really weird in here as well. There's the actor's strike, and then we get to the listings. Anything before we get into the days? Anything else that stuck out to you?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I wrote down some stuff. I was like, I could not believe that I did not know about this lesbian show, Give Me Sugar.
I never heard of it.
And now I'm like, I haven't either. And like, I was very into the L Word and the real L Word. And so I was like, what is this? But then I was like, oh, it was Logo. I don't remember ever watching anything on Logo.
Yeah, that was like, they were like, we need Lifetime, but for gay people.
Yeah.
And they're like, isn't that Lifetime? And they're like, no, we need it to be officially for gay people. I feel
was like Candace Cameron was like, we can't have this on.
Yeah, I won't do
Lifetime.
this on my channel. I'm having my own Christian Lifetime channel. And then there's like a battle of who could be more wholesome. Who can be more wholesome by being more hateful. There's Logo. I think really the first time I remember people really watching Logo is when they figured out that the best gay programming was to marathon Golden Girls. And then they got huge. Like, weirdly.
I mean, everybody loves Golden Girls, but gay men love Golden Girls.
Yeah. And they were like, "We're the gay channel. Yeah. We've been paying to have all these gay shows made, and nothing's hitting. And then we get some Golden Girls, and all of a sudden we're number one."
Yep.
Makes sense.
No, I want to go find. I want to try to find it. Like, I really want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm curious about this show. Also, I love that there was an L word and a real L word. Like, it's like the Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh, I still follow so many of the. I mean, obviously, I follow all the L word cast, but then I also follow all of the real L word cast, and I'll be like, I'll just like randomly be like, "Can you believe what Stamy?" And then people are like, "Why are you still talking about this?" I'm like, "Because I don't know. It means a lot to me."
You're the only person still talking about this who doesn't know these people personally.
Yeah, I don't know them at all.
Someday you could. So there's also there's a show called The 10th Circle, which is a Lifetime show that's them trying to do a horror show.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
It's
Which page is that? Oh, yeah, here I see it.
Yeah, page 23. So this is the 10th Circle of Hell, and it's like based on Dante's Inferno, but it also looks like just really soapy and stupid in like a really entertaining way.
Yeah, Ron's hair is very soapy. I did always like Kelly Preston.
Yes. And I forget.
Was a fan.
I always forget she died. Like, that was just like very sudden.
I just remembered it as I said her name.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie Mischief?
I think so.
With her and Lori Loughlin. No, not Lori Loughlin. It's Mary Catherine Stewart and her. And it's like set in the 50s. It's very fun, like weird 80s movie.
Okay.
Lori Loughlin one is Secret Admirer. That was the one I was thinking of with the other one. That's a terrible movie. That's a terrible movie. So we have Denise Richards in here with, this is one of the best TV Guide photo shoots ever. Like, the cover is great, but then the whole rest of the layout's really good too, because they've gone for this like whole sort of old Hollywood B movie thing, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And her pig. She had an exotic pet as well. Her and her pet pig.
Stella.
Yeah.
That's, are you not aware that that's Stella?
No, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of Stella.
And Stella had a foot, like she was a little bit disabled and had a hard time walking, so that's why Denise got her. She wanted to give Stella a nice home.
Oh, that makes me like her.
I know.
So her kids on the show, are they her and Charlie Sheen's kids as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Sammy and Lola.
Okay. So I've come to the red person.
I should be embarrassed.
I love that they're talking about, and they're like, Charlie is mad that you're putting your kids on the show, saying they're exploiting them. Like, Charlie Sheen has no grounds to complain about anything.
Who put his daughter like on 2.5 Men when she was like 8 months or something.
Yeah, but
and like works with a child actor.
It's okay for him to do that. Then I didn't know she dated Richie Sambora after Heather Locklear. So this is all new to me.
Oh, they gave it to her. They were like, you're a home wrecker, a whore, like all like people really came after her.
Because they loved Heather Locklear so much.
I think that, but also like the Charlie Sheen of it all. Like, yeah. Because people loved 2.5 Men so much that nobody wanted to like admit that he was just a like abusive, horrible person.
He's a piece of shit. And weirdly, on the next page is an article about the two Coreys. And I still don't know how this isn't talked about all the time, but Corey Feldman flat out was like, "Oh, Charlie Sheen abused me as a kid a ton." And then
that's right.
People were just like, "Oh yeah, anyway." Like, it somehow just didn't give a shit.
It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. I met Corey Haim around this time. And that poor dude, he was not in a good way.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was, it's bad when Feldman seems like he has his shit together comparatively.
Yeah. Sure.
You're like, all right, he's the one we can rely on. But also weirdly sad. Like, this was, the whole article here is like, are these shows exploitive and sleazy? Because especially one like that, where it's clearly exploiting Haim, who's got a lot of problems, or, you know, like Anna Nicole Smith was really kind of killed by reality TV. She was like one of the first sort of casualties from this. And I don't feel like we learned a lesson from this. They're still just like, hey, let's get people with issues and just watch them and laugh at them.
Yeah, and I'll tune in.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's totally fucked up. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see this fucking car crash.
I feel like where they've changed is they stopped doing it to celebrities or people we know. Like the Surreal Life was around this time. It was like, let's look at all these people who are washed up or whatever, and just started building up people who aren't famous into these things that we can laugh at, and then people are okay with that.
Yeah.
They didn't used to be famous, so I'm okay with them. We can watch them just completely immolate. Because they're talking about how America's Got Talent had just started that year.
Yeah.
And it was hosted by Jerry Springer the first year.
What?
Yeah. And David Hasselhoff was a judge. And they're talking about this is the same year that Hasselhoff had that drunk on the floor with the cheeseburger video.
Oh, yeah.
So how far has that show come?
I mean, wow. Really far.
Man, then a thing called
That's crazy.
The Singing Office with Joey Fatone. he teaches offices how to sing. So
That's what we need. We need to bring that one back.
what? And they compete for $50,000. The premiere episode features 1-800 dentist employees performing "I Can't Help Myself" in a sing-off against the Allen Edwards salons singing "Zoot Suit Riot." Why is that a show? Who even thought, like, all right, we get Joey Fatone and he teaches office workers how to sing songs and then we make them battle.
Yeah. You know, because whenever I walk into an office building, the first thing I think is, like, can they harmonize?
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah, like
that's what you want to know.
This reception is pretty good, but can she sing Zoot Suit Riot?
Zoot Suit Riot is very funny to me.
Why did they even pick that song? Oh, wow. They need to bring that one back. Then, of course, you get The Bachelorette and the stuff that's still coming on TV today. And then they have reality TV's top 10 villains, which is funny.
Yes, I loved that.
Some of them are still around, but the vast majority just disappeared forever.
Yeah. They ended Real Housewives of New York because of Ramona Singer, and like she had like said some like racist things, and so
she got the whole show canceled because she was so awful. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
Remember Spencer Pratt?
You know what? I was just talking to my friend about Spencer Pratt.
We're like that.
He's on my mind.
He's on everybody's mind. I never even watched that show, and I knew who that kid was. And then I don't think anyone's mentioned his name. I think us just mentioning his name, if we say it one more time, we'll invoke him like Beetlejuice, because I don't think he's been anywhere for at least a decade.
No, he does these insane Instagram and like TikTok videos. He loves to feed hummingbirds.
Okay.
And so he has these crazy hats
that feed hummingbirds?
with hummingbird feeders on them, and he just like sits there.
Does he know that's what's happening?
See, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but somehow I'm just like, why can I not stop watching this?
That is nuts. Then there's a whole article in here about Secret Diary of a Call Girl starring Billie Piper, friend of the show, been on the show before. But
awesome.
The headline is, "Who's that call girl?" Which I'm like, is that a reality show? But it's not. It's a scripted
that's what
series.
I thought at first when I saw it, and then realized it was scripted.
I guarantee you somebody at least pitched that, if not made a pilot.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
For sure.
This guy's going on 6 dates. One of them's a call girl. If he can figure out which one it is, like, we'll get 10 grand and a new lease for a Hyundai. Then there was an Army Wives show that I didn't know was a thing.
I'm embarrassed. I watched the shit out of it.
Did you?
I loved it. I did.
Not a reality show.
Like, I was still... I mean, obviously, I still sound very Southern, but, like, was very like...
Okay.
That doesn't sound right. Like, yeah. Like, I was still like, you got to respect the military, and support the troops, and I loved Army Wives. I couldn't tell you one thing about it now, but I remember it being, like, important to me.
So if you were invited to a cookout in 2008, what food item would you bring?
Cookout 2008. I mean, probably some kind of casserole or deviled eggs.
Okay, I thought you'd say deviled eggs. And what would you bring now?
Some kind of casserole or deviled eggs.
So that you'll never get away from that piece.
No, that's just who I am.
You're not going to be like, I'm bringing a crudité and a charcuterie board.
Dude, I don't even know what a crudité is.
It's vegetables and dip. It's like, I don't know what. Do you remember when Dr. Oz ran for Senate like a couple years ago?
No.
Oh, he ran for Senate in New York, and I don't know why. And the thing that tanked his campaign was he was trying to show he was just like everyone else, even though his name sounds like a supervillain and he's terrifying looking and is a terrible person. But he literally was at a supermarket. He's like, hey, I shop just like you. Like, I'm just buying this crudité. And it was like carrot sticks and like sour cream dip. And people were like, what the fuck's a crudité? Fuck you, dude. And I was like, yeah.
I'm with them.
Yeah, don't call it that. Then the show Wipeout had started, which is probably the most Japanese of game shows. I feel like this is still on. Like, isn't this still like a summer series?
Yeah, there's still, like, I don't know if it's necessarily called that, but there's different ones that are still like, hey, let's watch somebody eat shit. Like,
well, there's probably that, and then also people falling off things.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant by eat shit. That, like, yeah.
Yeah.
They get hit in the head so hard they fall over, they eat shit.
Chris DiStefano hosted one of these.
Oh, did he?
It was real bad, and I gave him a lot of shit for it being terrible, but I've been told since they really didn't let him do anything, but and he ended up getting fired for saying like a joke that they thought was racist. But it would literally be like, so he hosted it, and someone would get, like get hit in the head with a beanbag or something, and he'd be like, oh, I guess she just got knocked out. And it would be like, he'd say it like a punchline, but it wasn't. And then it'd be like, did they edit it? Like, what? It was really bizarre. It was like, it didn't even feel like he was in the same room. Like, they just had him say a bunch of things and cut him in. Yeah. But that was not a great one. Very strange. Would you ever go on one of these, like, obstacle course shows?
I mean, I am the least athletic person.
Same. I'd still go on, though.
Oh, I would totally go on. Give me that credit, baby.
Yeah. I would get knocked out.
That's how I get brought up.
She was knocked out.
First to be knocked off. Yeah.
She got knocked out by a Nerf battering ram.
Yeah, I would totally do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hate sports, and I'd still do it. Then there's an article in here about Dennis Leary's Rescue Me show. And this is saying a lot. I've never seen a photograph of Dennis Leary looking like a bigger dickhead than this photograph of Dennis Leary.
It's so bad. The hair is awful. The all gray wardrobe. Like,
what is that shirt?
It's so bad. What is that shirt? It's like fancy but textured.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And he has the smuggest look on his face. But he looks like he looks like a 60-year-old woman, sort of.
Yes, he really does.
It's really weird. I a photographer who's no longer with us, but did some headshots for me. He was from Worcester, as is Dennis Leary, and was taking pictures of him. And Dennis Leary was such an asshole. He kept like just calling the guy gay and stuff. It was like, come on, take the picture, Nancy. Like that kind of stuff.
Oh my
like,
God.
what? It's like super. Yeah, I'm not a Dennis Leary fan. Also, a guy that used stand-up to become an actor and then completely abandoned it. I know he does the charity thing every year. You know, charity's good, whatever.
Yeah.
But he is not a stand-up comic. His stand-up is fucking awful.
Is it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
His biggest thing was he had a parody song on one of his albums called "I'm an Asshole."
Oh,
and people were like, "It's so
speak the truth."
funny! Oh my God!" Yeah, it's bad. I've never seen Rescue Me. People seem to like it, but I don't think I can watch.
I've never seen it.
Dennis Leary and things. I just don't think I can.
No.
I'd watch
I'm
him in
good.
the 10th Circle of Hell. That would be good. Also, Jason Alexander was a judge on the show Step It Up and Dance.
That's insane.
And there was a rival show called Your Mama Don't Dance, where it was a dance competition of mothers. And another show that Lonely Love hosted called The Master of the Dance. These were all on at the same time.
Have those people ever danced?
I don't think so. Like,
Not that I know of.
I'm like-
I don't think so.
we've run out of people to judge things that are appropriate for them. Can you just get us some famous people? It doesn't matter if they can do the thing they're judging.
Yeah.
Oh, what a world.
sure.
There was a superhero reality show.
Oh, okay.
Sci-Fi
yeah,
Channel's
I'm looking
Who
at
Wants
it.
to Be a Superhero? And the winner was this woman who became a hero called Whip Snap.
Whip snap?
That was her superhero name. That's her in her costume, which she has the WS on her belt, not Wild Style.
I mean, I appreciate the sun around the belly button.
That's a great tattoo, yeah. And it's totally not symmetrical. Like, that's really bothering me.
Yeah.
That it's not. I'm like, no, if you're gonna. And she's proud of it too, because her Whip Snap costume is just like a halter top and then pants. So it's complete bare midriff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she said, I'm not embarrassed for my age. I'm 37, and for 37, I look great. Which makes me feel so old. Oh, I'm too old to be Whip Snap.
I'm only a year older than her, but I'll be honest, I don't look as good as she does in this picture.
This is Paula Thomas cried after she was chosen to be one of the mature catwalkers on TV Land's modeling competition. It was a touching moment if she hadn't already made it last summer as Whip Snap. So she was on 2 reality shows. She was Whip Snap on Who Wants to Be a Superhero,
Paula.
and the next year was on TV Land's modeling Who Wants to Be a Model but is over 30. My God.
Wow.
Is there a reality show you would be on, like, sincerely, that you would, like, if you could pick one to be on?
Real L Word
Okay.
would be. It's not on anymore.
Just to, like, meet the people?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's a good
and
reason.
It's so sexy. Like, they're just always having sex. And I'm like,
I mean, that's
and
a
I
good
would
reason
like
to say.
to be having sex. I'm currently having no sex. So,
I mean, really, you could pick any reality show and make that a reality. Probably. But fair enough.
I also love it's like The Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh,
or
yes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like being in Paradise.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Or like Love Island or one of those
But it would
things.
need to be like a queer.
Well, if it isn't, you got to make it queer.
There was one girl that like ended up Demi. Was like there to like meet a guy, but then turned out she had been dating this girl and was like, actually, I'm really in love with her. And then the girl got to come on the island.
Oh, wow. That's a good way to get a free vacation for your significant other.
Yeah.
There was a show called Temptation Island. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And the big
yes.
controversy was there was a couple that actually were married. Like I think the premise was it was people who were engaged, and it was like, oh, will they fall into temptation and then they won't get married? But this couple was already actually married and had like a kid and stuff, and pretended they didn't, and went on the show, and the show sued them for like fraud.
Oh shit. Wow. Well, there's a very similar show now called The Queer Ultimatum. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so messy. It is so good. So it's like lesbians, bisexuals, non-binaries. And I mean, they're also just having a lot of sex, but I'm just a little obsessed with sex.
No, that's fine. It's,
but
we all are.
But it's like, the thing is, like, they give them the ultimatum, like, either I want to get married, and then they come in here and they get to like date other people and then stuff, and then like see, like, by the end, like, will the one accept the ultimatum and get married, or like, are they gonna break up and be with somebody else? That's
way more pedestrian than I thought it would be based on that title. I thought it would be like, look, are you gay or not? You got to choose right now.
Trust me, at least one of them would be like, only for you.
Yes, yeah.
We've all heard that one.
Only for the duration of this program. Yes. If you're not, you're going to marry this person. They also try to bring back American Gladiators at this time. But it's weird. It says, for the first time, married couples compete. Husband against husband. Wife against wife. You get the idea. What? In a show that was completely underrated. I love this show. I did watch this at the time. It was a show called Middleman. It was on ABC Family. It was kind of a superhero show, but it was a comedy. It's really funny. Natalie Morales was in it. Not the one who hosts the Good Morning America. Natalie Morales, who did come out later as a lesbian after having to be like a leading...
Send her my way!
Yeah. Follow her on Instagram. But the show is really funny and like a weird, quirky show, and nobody watched it, but it's nice that they are like showcasing it here as like a good show to watch right after they're showing a show called 101 Cars You Must Drive. Oh, man. I feel like working at these channels at this time must have been the easiest thing ever. Like, you just pitched the dumbest shit and they'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
Is it a list? Sure. Man, oh man.
Oh yeah, I loved like an E-News.
I don't like they called it news, like the gall of that. The absolute gall.
That was the news, okay? I was not... Don't ask me shit about politics, but I know it's happening on E-News.
Fair enough. So did you go anything else in here that you made some notes on, or anything else that popped out?
Let's see. Oh, so yeah, we've talked about all of it. And then, the Katherine Heigl thing.
Yes.
So that, like, I was a big, I still watch Grey's Anatomy. When I first moved to Chicago, I didn't have any friends, so my best friends became Blockbuster, and I would go to Blockbuster and I would rent Grey's Anatomy, and like, that's all I did when I first moved, and like, watched so much of it, and now like I still watch it. But I just remembered this.
It's amazing that that's still on. It's like 20 seasons or something. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people forget the show was built like around her initially, right?
Yeah. And I think she's decided like this is her last or whatever.
It was constantly like, I don't know what she did. I don't remember any of the details, but like everybody hated her. Like universally in the world, it's like, oh, Katherine Heigl sucks.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Meredith Grey, who so it's actually, it was about Meredith Grey.
Yes, who's that actress? She's from Boston.
Ellen Pompeo.
Yes, she's from Everett, Mass. Huh, Wouldn't mess with her, she'll stab you.
Heigl, though, they hated Heigl because they said like she was hard to work with. Which maybe she just had an opinion, would be my assumption, giving the time.
Sure.
And like I was reading this, and I remember this where she had won an Emmy, And then she was nominated again, and she took her name out of the nomination and said something like she didn't feel like she was given the material to be able to be, she didn't feel like she should be nominated. And she was like, I don't want to take this opportunity from someone else.
That seems pretty noble.
And, yeah, that's what, like, I was reading this and I was like, that just, yeah.
And they were like, what a bitch.
Good person. Yeah, and exactly. They were like, you bitch. And they're like, you're, you know, talking bad about Grey's Anatomy and all this stuff. And it was just like,
yeah, because she was
ridiculous,
a massive star, and then I remember she was like couldn't get cast in anything, and for a while you would see her in like commercials. Not a commercial that was like, "Hey, I'm a famous person playing myself in this commercial."
Yeah,
like she would just be like a jobbing actor in like a vacuum commercial, like unnamed
Crazy.
woman cleaning the oven or whatever. Because that Katherine
yeah, I mean,
Heigl?
she did big rom-coms like 27 Dresses.
Oh, yeah.
Like she had
a movie career before, like even before Grey's Anatomy. She was in a bunch of movies before that.
Yeah.
Including an infamous one where Steven Seagal hit on her when she was 14.
Oh,
yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, well, he's a disgusting human. Even Animal Planet had a reality show called Groomer Has It. If you could come up with a pun, they would let you do a reality show.
For real.
My God.
What's that? Just like 18-year-olds being bit by chihuahuas?
Yeah, a special recap episode. It's down to 2 doggy stylists for the final challenge. Here it is. Here's the challenge. This is the difficult challenge that you could win $50,000 for. Groom 7 pooches in 10 hours. It's rough work, but the winner gets $50,000 in cash and a mobile pet salon. That doesn't. I feel like I could do that.
Yeah, I'm like, sign me up.
7. That's not even 1 an hour. Like,
that's insane.
How long does it take?
How long does it take?
It'd be funny if that was just like the people who came up with that had no idea how long it takes. So they were like, all right, this is going to be the most hard thing ever. And then the groomers were like, oh yeah, oh no. Okay. I guess we'll try.
Only 10 hours.
Jeez, you're really killing us here, man. I am curious how that went though. Like, cause someone being a bad pet groomer is kind of hilarious. Like, as long as the pets don't get hurt, but just like give them really bad haircuts. Like, who's judging that? Like, famous groomers? Like, who's judging it? Famous dogs?
Seen these videos where, right? They, like the fluffy dogs, they like make it look like they have a big
round, like
Kim Kardashian ass.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
It's mostly Korean videos where they're like, yeah, they make them look like weird shapes. Yeah, I mean, I love dog grooming. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that show could be much more exciting than they made it sound.
I agree.
Anything else on there?
No, I mean, I have all my shows that I listed.
Yes, let's go through the shows
for the nights.
Yep, let's go. Where are we? Monday, first one.
Yep, Monday. Gossip Girl on the CW.
Which I've never seen. Remember being a massive phenomenon, but nobody talks about it now, and it seems completely forgotten.
They had a reboot, and it was decent. But, yeah, the originals... I mean, it's like a soap opera, kind of.
Was this a girl,
for teens.
like a girl that wrote a gossip column in her high school? Was that like the premise?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But turns out it wasn't a girl.
Oh. Well, spoilers. Now I never have to watch it.
Yeah, I went on a 3-hour rickshaw tour in New York, a Gossip Girl tour.
Is the rickshaw integral to the... Is that thematically in keeping with Gossip Girl, or just happened to be a rickshaw?
That's just how you get from Gossip Girl location to Gossip Girl location. Okay. But I became like really good friends with this rickshaw driver. He was the absolute best. That I ended up using him again, and I got to see it. Do I still have his number? Because I was like, I might need to go on a rickshaw ride with a visitor, and I need to make sure I got my rickshaw man's number. But every place we would stop, he would go. And he would just tell you a fact. Like, he'd be like, and this is where Blair married the prince. You remember? Like, everything. You remember? It was so great. It was like $150, and I had the time of my life.
Worth every penny. It'd be funny if the reason that they had a rickshaw was because there was a character on the show named Rickshaw.
That would be good. Remember?
Rickshaw? Remember? Get it? So you're watching that, and then how about Tuesday?
Oh, Tuesday. Denise Richards show, obviously. True Hollywood Story. I watched any of those.
I will say I always watched those. And I'm surprised they were still doing them at this point, because they'd been doing those since the mid-90s.
Are they? Yeah, I wish they were still doing them. I'd watch them. And then Reba reruns on Lifetime.
I never watched Reba, but I always liked her. She's great in Tremors.
She's great.
And the show looked fine. It's just like a family sitcom, right?
Yeah.
It looks... Maybe I will check that out. It reminded me... I was like... I feel when it would come on, I'd go, I really want to watch Grace Under Fire. Not this.
It makes sense. Makes sense.
I was being unfair.
But it was good. Like, for like the sitcom format and everything, it was good.
Because it was funny. They're constantly trying to get country music artists to act. Like, more than anyone else. Like, maybe rappers.
But she can really act. Like, she was in Annie Get Your Gun on Broadway. Like, she's incredible.
Yeah, good comedic timing. Like, have you ever seen Tremors? Mm-mm. She plays a survivalist, like, gun nut, and she's fantastic.
Oh,
it's
wow.
great. That was the first thing I saw her act in, and I'm like, she's really funny. So I will revisit Reba. You've inspired me to revisit Reba. I will not revisit the Jeff Foxworthy show. I'm saying that right now, because I think they were back-to-back on ABC. But I will revisit Reba.
Understandable.
That's Tuesday. What about Wednesday?
Okay, I used to actually watch this show, Wife Swap. Okay. Yeah, I told you I love reality TV. Like, so it's like this couple, and like, you know, it might be like, we're all goths in this house, and we don't believe in God. And then you have this other family that's like, you know, not even a cracker touches our lips before we pray. And then they swap wives, and you know,
because I love that I feel like the person who
chaos ensues. The
person who created this show didn't know what wife swapping was, and was like, it was like, hey guys, what's wife swapping? And someone was like, you know, like, they just live there for a couple days and cook dinner. Just like, because I feel like people tuned into this being like, all right, let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
This particular episode is in the 4th season finale. A pig farming mom who homeschools her kids swaps with a bohemian belly dancer.
Isn't that great?
I remember that woman.
It's incredible.
Called everyone demonic, and she was like, he's not a Christian. She looked like Louis Anderson. Do you remember that lady? I remember that one. And then they did celebrity wife swap, like Tracy Lords swapped with Jack A. Harry. Which was a pretty exciting one. I talked to Tracy about that one when I had her on. And I did watch Super Nanny. I don't know if you picked Super Nanny after that.
I did. That was my next one, Super Nanny.
And then there was the ripoff Nanny 911, which is not as good.
Mm-hmm. Not as good.
My favorite moments of Super Nanny that I still kind of quote almost weekly, I'd say, is there was a kid who was badly behaved, who she was like 4, and she kept saying, "Come and get me, butt pie." Which was just a fun insult. But there was also this dad who was such a dickhead, and he hated his kids so much. And this kid was like 3. Give me my life back, guy.
For wearing the little boy that wanted to wear dress up like a girl.
Oh no, that guy was awful too. That guy was awful. This guy was just this kid. He like took the kid's toy, and the kid was like, "Give me my toy back," and he like points in the kid's face. He goes, "Give me my life back." And then one of the people that was on this show was the dad of that. Remember Balloon Boy? That kid who, and his dad was all into making his own like fermented foods and all that kind of weird stuff.
So weird.
That Balloon Boy. Oh my like, that kid's probably 30 now. Oh, God. There's a show called Farmer Wants a Wife. The ladies have a final test to see if they are farm material. What does that mean?
Well, you got to have big birthing hips.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you ain't going to work on farm, you got to be fertilizer.
That's true.
Where are we on Thursday?
I would watch Grey's Anatomy. Denise Richards again. But
Was she on E? Was that what?
Snapped. Yeah, it was on E. I was obsessed with the show Snapped.
What was that show? Like Women Who Kill kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. It's like men have driven them so crazy that they just snap.
And it was like a true crime type show, or was it like okay?
Yeah, I love murder.
Statement of the week.
All I want to talk about is sex and murder.
Thankfully, in that order.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd be weirded out. They're showing the fantastic Dane Cook movie, Employee of the Month, that shockingly only got 2 stars.
Doesn't he have like a 19-year-old girlfriend or
Yes, he
something
does,
right now?
yeah. And they started dating
So
the day she turned 18 and not a day earlier than that. I think they're married.
That's so
Yeah,
gross.
I can't even talk to a cashier, like a 17-year-old cashier at the supermarket about anything. Like, I'm just like, I don't understand you people. And be like, yeah, sure.
I was just with my niece. My niece is 14, and we were staying. She was like, "We have to go to the Hamptons. We have to go to the Hamptons." So I was like, "Allie can't afford the Hamptons, but I'm gonna figure it out." So we went for 2.
Let me call my rickshaw guy.
Yeah, let me call my rickshaw dress and give it a ride. So we ended up going, and we were kayaking. Which, by the way, you cannot wear a life jacket. That's not cool.
Oh, okay.
So,
just because it's not cool, not because it's like forbidden.
No, just because like the place was like, please wear life jackets, and Spalding was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
There are 2 young guys over there, like around her age, and I have no idea how to speak to a teenager. And she's like, Allie, we got to get him to take our picture, and then he can text it to me. And I was like, okay, I'm on this. And I just start screaming, excuse me, young teenager. Excuse me, young teenager. I'm like, and he's like, yes. I was like, will you take our picture with your phone?
We don't have a phone. Oh, wait, I found it. Wow. So did it work?
It did. And we ended up hanging out with him. That makes
Double
me sound real Dane Cookie. No, like, yeah, became friends, and we did s'mores with them one night, and yeah.
Nice. And you're the favorite aunt now.
I am, and the next night, I went and made the fire in the fire pit for them, and was just like, guys, I'm tired. I was like, Spalding, just be back by this time. I'm going in, and then she texted me and was like, I need you back out here. I'm like, why?
He's a wingman.
She's like, you really keep the conversation going. I was like, oh. Okay.
Otherwise, we've just been
Great.
talking about life jackets and how stupid they are.
They are, yeah.
Man, literally wouldn't be caught dead in that.
Nope.
So Thursday, you're watching that. I did watch Supernatural on Thursday nights, 100%.
Okay.
I was completely all in. Didn't miss an episode of Supernatural until about season 7, and then I was like, I'm out. I can't anymore. But was a diehard Supernatural fan. This one is a particularly bad episode. This is drownings on dry land are linked to visions of a ghost ship. This is bad. There were 2 episodes of Supernatural around this time that were particularly bad. This one and one that was about a racist truck.
What?
It was like a sentient truck like Christine, but it was racist.
Okay.
And it would like go after black people. It was like an evil,
Oh my God.
It was like an evil racist pickup truck. It was pretty bad. Speaking of bad, another movie that somehow managed to just be completely forgotten about, the Adam Sandler Kevin James epic. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Oh yeah, they've done a couple of bad ones together.
2007? That seems way too late for that movie.
Yeah, that does. And like I love Adam Sandler. But no, some of especially it's like any like the Grown-Ups, like anything he did with Kevin James was just really bad.
It's like you didn't even want to make a movie. You guys just wanted to hang out and have someone else pay for it.
Hang out. Yeah, exactly.
They shot so many of those up here. Like Paul Blart Mall Cop is at the Burlington Mall up here, and they shot all the Grown-Ups movies here. So they would be. David Spade came by and did stand up on one of my shows once because he was here doing like, one of the Grown-Ups movies. But I was just like, you guys just want to go on vacation for 2 weeks. There's a show called Paralyzed and Pregnant.
I remember that. Yes, I forgot about that.
What the fuck? So if it's a pun or it's alliteration, they'll greenlight it.
Yeah.
Also,
and it is exactly what you just said.
What? So the show's called Paralyzed and Pregnant, and then they, for some reason, feel the need to have a description of the show after the title, and the description.
What did they say?
A paralyzed woman's pregnancy. Why on earth is that necessary? Like nobody, like someone's gonna be like, this sounds interesting. What is this about? Okay, all right, not what I thought, but okay.
I watched that one a little, but the one I watched the most was I didn't know I was pregnant.
Yep.
And then the toilet babies and
that whole show was just liars. Like, every single person was such a liar.
It's like I just thought I had to fart.
Yeah, I swore,
it's like what?
I thought, man, this chair is weird, and all of a sudden, triplets. My God. Friday night, anything on there?
I still watch this 2020.
So 2020's
I like
the only show my parents wouldn't let me watch. And it's different now because it's basically just like a true crime show now, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was growing up, it was like a news magazine show, and it was on Friday nights after the pre-TGIF, the show, the block of shows that would become TGIF, and I would watch it, but I would get super anxious about everything that would be on it. So like I'd tell my parents, like, you can't use an ATM, you're gonna get robbed, don't wear a lap seatbelt, you're gonna be paralyzed but not pregnant. Watch out for the Moonies. Like there's medical waste at the beach. So my parents literally, who let me watch anything, were like, you're not allowed to watch that show anymore, and their reasoning was because you're annoying.
I mean, it sounds like you were.
True. So yeah, infamously, it's the only show. But yeah, it's sort of, I think it went off the air for a number of years, and then when it came back, it's just like murder shows, like murder stories.
Yeah. I also would watch Girls Next Door, the Hugh Hefner.
Oh, the Playboy one.
Yeah, the Playboy one. I was like, why do I love this so much?
Did you figure it out eventually?
Yeah, eventually I figured it out. It wasn't for Hugh.
Who was like barely alive on that show.
It just would show up just occasionally.
They'd put a sea captain hat on. He wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, but now like each of those girls have like come out about how like abusive he was.
Oh yeah, which is not a shock. Like that place was horrific.
Not surprising at all.
Yeah, they've all written like 3 books each.
Oh yeah. And the Grotto, like I was just like, I could never swim. Like it just has to have so much cum.
Yeah.
Like I just can't.
Yeah, it's like eventually there's no water. It's
there's no water.
Was it Kendra? She was like the breakout star. She had her own show after that, I think. Mm-hmm. But then she just disappeared.
She sells real estate now.
Of course. They all go into real estate. It's a weird...
They all go into real estate. They really do.
I mean, I guess, who buys real estate? Dumb dudes. And who's going to be able to sell dumb dudes real estate for more than they should pay for it? Ex-playmates.
Yeah.
Or I guess you're never really an ex-playmate. You're always a playmate. Yeah, that show was huge. I feel like that was the biggest show on E! At the time.
Yeah, it was huge.
There's a show on...
Huge. I went and bought Playboy visor.
Oh God, yeah, that's when everyone was wearing the Playboy stuff. There was. I like how the DIY channel was trying to get into like wacky shows. So they, there's the shows that I know of, like This Old House and Sweat Equity, but they had a show called Hammered, which I like to think would be about drunk people doing construction. But I don't think that's what I hope it is. Because that would probably be dangerous. But you know what? We had Paralyzed and Pregnant, so it very well could be.
So it could definitely be that.
I see Paula Deen is still in here before she had her fall. Oof. Have you ever seen that footage of her getting hit in the face with a frozen turkey?
No, but I'm like, write that one down.
She's like in the back of a truck, like they're packing this truck, and the guy throws the turkey just right in the face. Oh, it's great. It's right up there with the bird flying into Fabio's face. Two of my favorite.
That's what I was about to say. Yes,
two of my favorites. But Paula Deen really deserved it. My God.
Yeah, she really.
My
did.
dad loved her. Like thought she was hot. I know. It doesn't make any sense. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, I think you're the only person. Yeah, it was. Maybe he was going through some stuff. I don't know. It's a little strange. Saturday, anything?
Yes. SNL.
Yep. This is.
And then any like Lifetime movie, network movie. Like this says that week it was Trophy Wife was on.
Ellen Page at the time was hosting SNL that week. I don't think I've ever seen that episode. I think this is right when she did. Was it Juno? Was that the movie she did? That was her big break.
Oh yeah. For Shizzed Up the Spout.
I had a guy on the show who writes and directs the Lifetime movies. Especially now, like a lot of because they've gotten way crazier in the last 10 years. Like they're basically like slasher movies now, like Crazy Pool Boy.
Fortunately, I don't have Lifetime anymore.
You got to get a Lifetime. They're mostly like just slasher movies, but he said they gave him like an outline of how to write the scripts, and it's not how you normally structure a story, because a story builds in 3 acts and the big and they go no. After the first hour, it doesn't matter. He's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, they're already watching. Like, we don't need to have a big crescendo because if they've been watching for an hour, they're not going to finish. Stop. So we don't need like a big thing after that. So he had to relearn how to write scripts where like the end of this, like middle of the second act is when the movie basically ends. Then you just have like another hour. Because they'll watch it anyway.
That's crazy.
I'm like, all right, fair enough. But they figure that stuff out. And then Sunday, what'd you do?
Okay, Cold Case Files, Law and Order SVU, and
so scripted and reality. You're mixing it up a little.
Yeah, mixing it up. And then I was like, if I would watch a movie, I would have watched American Beauty, but probably not now because Kevin Spacey.
What a creep. Good God.
Creep.
I did watch Extreme Makeover Home Edition a lot at this time.
Oh, those are good. They would make me cry.
Oh, me too. Absolutely too. And I hate Ty Pennington so much. He's like the corpse of Kevin Bacon. Like he's just like a weird...
That's a great description.
Like this man's been in the sun for 19 weeks and nobody's checked on him, and then they just threw him on this set. But I love a before and after. It was so contrived, but contrived. My wife corrected me because I mispronounced it. It was so contrived. But do you remember why it's called Extreme Makeover? It's a spin-off show. Why it's called Home Edition. There was a show prior to this called Extreme Makeover they would take ugly people,
ugly people. That's
and
right.
then do all this plastic surgery, which is horrific.
That was the Swan.
No, there were two. There was Extreme Makeover was the first one, and then they were like another network was like, we're going to do that too, and they did the Swan.
The Swan was insane.
Completely crazy. And then
those women would go under and get like 15 surgeries done at once.
Like horrifically dangerous and painful. And then they had like one later where they were like, it was like The Bachelor, but only people who had been on either The Swan or Extreme Makeover.
Oh yeah.
Because every like hacky comedian was like, they're gonna have a kid who's hideous because they're both actually ugly. So Extreme Makeover Home Edition was a spin-off of that. And then just kind of took over, which is such a weird thing because it was such a family show. For some reason, there was some English guy they had who was like one of the foremen, and he cut himself on the set, and he cleaned the wound with aftershave, and he got an infection, and he was off the show for the rest of the thing. I don't know why I remember that, but it was like a whole subplot of an episode of Extreme Home Makeover. But that was like, as a kid, they'd be like, in this kid's room, we gave you a ball pit and a swimming pool and a movie theater. It would be like,
it's like, this is awesome.
Can I have that?
Yeah.
Fantastic. That is the week. We end with an ad. This is Famous Faces Get Fit with Nutrisystem. We have Marie Osmond, who lost 40 pounds on Nutrisystem, and Jillian Barberi, who I think is dead, maybe died, who lost 41 pounds. So she's 1 pound better than Marie Osmond. I don't think Nutrisystem is even a thing anymore. And another ad for the Singing Office. And I realized that the other, speaking of America's Got Talent, it's Joey Fatone, and the other coach is Mel B from the Spice Girls.
Oh my gosh.
So she's doing a lot better.
Yeah, I did see that. I do always appreciate the horoscopes.
Oh yeah. Let's look at your horoscope. Where is it here? What are you?
Let's see. I'm Gemini.
Gemini. Go for it.
The grass may look greener on the other side of the fence, but this is definitely not the time to jump over. If you give in to temptation and make the leap, you'll quickly regret it. Stick to your side of the fence for the time being. Others may soon be jumping over to join you.
That doesn't sound fun.
Is that like homophobic and racist?
I think so.
It's like, stay on your side of the fence.
Don't come over here and you're going to convert everybody eventually because that's your goal. No, and the famous Gemini that they're pointing out is Rupert Everett.
Yeah.
I'm a Cancer, just like Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman. And it says, something in your worldview that you have always taken for granted won't seem quite so clear-cut this week. And yes, it's possible that you got the wrong end of the stick. What? It's also possible that your mind is playing tricks on you. Don't give up on it yet. Don't give up on my mind?
Yeah.
This is some of the laziest horoscope I've ever seen. Sally Brompton, you're a lazy horoscopist.
Yeah, Sally, you haven't even looked at the stars.
No, all of them don't, like, more than normal, don't say anything.
Yeah, no.
They all kind of say the same thing. Like, I just looked at the Aquarius one. I don't know if that's cheating. Although Capricorn, it says changes to Uranus turns retrograde. So they know what they were doing there. But the cosmic trends have been good to you as of late. But of course, nothing lasts forever. Like, it's just something might be good, but it could be bad.
Something could be bad. Yes.
Oh, and then there's an ad for a failed Oreo product called Oreo Fudgies.
I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'd eat it.
It doesn't look unappetizing, but what a terrible name.
Fudgies, yeah, Fudgies is bad.
That is not a good name. Terrible name.
And it is shaped like a turd.
It's like, could we make these Oreos more like shit? Would that be, I think we'll sell a lot more of these. Oreos, famously unpopular. Let's change what clearly isn't working and make them look like shit and call them Fudgies. My God. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's been great talking to you, and I learned so much about reality.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to do that for you.
There you go. That's Ellie. As I said, very funny. Ellie Clayton Comedy, Y'all Gay Podcast, which is the name of it. I'm not. Anyway, very funny. Go check her out. And as I said, she beat me in the exotic pet department, hands down. I just have the 3 dogs, and I love them very much. But there's no but there. No buts with my love of my dogs. New thought. I'll be here next week. I hope you will too, because I have a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
Do they like me or is it just my monkey?